even having this particular discussion. So I want to talk about a few points before I stop and open it up for discussion. One of the preeminent qualities of Malcolm X, for anybody who just takes just a little bit of time to look at his life and try to understand this life, we find that there was this uncompromising, fierce commitment to the oppressed, to justice. Malcolm was uncompromising when it came to injustice. It's a quality that I wish that I could say and really mean it, that I want to be like Malcolm when I grew up in this regard. That there were few people of his generation, there were few people today that would have the kind of commitment to justice and the oppressed in an uncompromising way like Malcolm X. That Malcolm not only kept this commitment just to himself, but he was one who felt that I must speak out against those things that are wrong, no matter what way the flow is going down the river. No matter which way it's going, I'll be like a salmon if necessary and go in an opposite direction. Let me give you an example. During the period when Malcolm X was a member of the Nation of Islam, for the 12-year period that he was the national spokesperson for Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, for the 11 months after leaving the Nation of Islam and organizing Muslim Mosque Incorporated and the Organization of Afro-American Unity, this quality of saying and speaking the truth as Malcolm saw it and understood it was something that was very qualifying, a characteristic of Malcolm X. To the extent that when the civil rights movement and its leaders were calling for civil rights and demanding for civil rights, which were very much needed when we were living in an apartheid era. Growing up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, I grew up as a child under a system of apartheid. And what I experienced in Winston-Salem was nothing compared to other parts of the country. And so it made sense for the people to say that the laws that are being sanctioned by the U.S. Supreme Court and these things, these laws are unjust. They need to be changed. And people were saying that our civil rights have to be preeminent. We have to stand up for these things. But Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz, Malcolm X, was saying no. There's something that belongs to you as a human being. Just because you are a human being, forget about civil rights, because they can be given to you or taken away. But when you concentrate on human rights, it's not something that someone can give you that right. It's something that you must take. So Malcolm would say things like, when many of the civil rights leaders were so happy that the legislation was changing, that things looked like, not changing at this point, but it looked like it was about to change, and things actually changed in 1964, Malcolm was saying that I'm not going to sit at your table and watch you eat with nothing on my plate and call myself a diner. So you can't tell me just because you're saying you're giving me these rights and I don't see where I'm actually getting anything. Don't call me a full citizen now that you changed the law. I'm not going to sit with you and watch you eat. And I don't have the benefit of what you have and then call myself a diner. Brothers and sisters, in Malcolm's uncompromising commitment to equality, to human rights, and to justice. You and I have an example that we can glean direction and inspiration from even today. Because we're living in a time when people's silence has become, and I'll start with myself, I will indict myself first before I begin to point a finger at someone else, but people's silence today has become an indictment against us. As people in this country and people around the world are being so victimized by the aggression and the militaristic aggression of this country, the kind of wanton disregard of human life that is going on, that is perpetrated by this nation and you and I, and starting with myself, remain silent in the face of all of this. And so what would Malcolm do? What would his example be in situations like this? Would it be to say, and I don't want to upset anyone, and I think I could probably get to this exit if anyone is so upset that you want to beat me up, but would Malcolm say that if we elect Barack Obama as president of the United States, that everything is going to be fine? There's a mania that's going across the country, and I'm endorsing the idea that we need change in this nation. But in the context of discussion about what would Malcolm, what can we get